And welcome back to Bio Europe Spring 2016 here in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm Sten Stovall with Pharma Insights. I'm also an editor and writer of our publications Script, The Pink Sheet, and In Vivo. I'm joined today with Jeff Riley, and he's CEO of Synthetic Biologics. Jeff, welcome.
Thanks, Sten. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you. I'd like to hear your business model. What are you actually hoping to do this year with your lead assets?
We are a classic small public biotech company based in the United States in Rockville, Maryland. And we have methodically over the past 4 years brought our drugs from discovery stage up through phase 3, which we're going into later this year. We have 2 drugs, primary drugs. One is for irritable bowel syndrome, the constipation form of that, and that's going into the phase 3, the latter part of this year. Our other drug is for Clostridium difficile or C. diff infection. Extremely novel. It is a preventative approach, and we hope to have our phase 2b data by the end of summer and hope to get into phase 3 early next year with that particular drug.
Now these are very acute areas and a large need there, aren't there?
Absolutely. These are multi-billion-dollar markets. The IBS market's fairly well defined these days. The C. diff market is rather unusual, and there's not too many drugs that actually work well against this particular pathogen. And we think we have the solution that, from a public health perspective, that's going to radically change the way we treat this disease.
Do you have collaborations that you're working with to advance these?
We're doing both of those 2 drugs on our own. We do have some earlier stage discovery programs and preclinical programs that we have partnered with Intrexon, or R.J. Kirk's company, and we're moving those forward as well.
What makes your assets different from others in the space?
They're microbiome focused. So the microbiome, as you might know, Steen, is the collection of bacteria and microorganisms that live in and on your body. We're one of the first companies to get into this space roughly 4 years ago, and these drugs basically impact that microbiome in a very particular way. In the case of the IBS drug, it's very pathogen-specific, so it only impacts one specific microorganism called Methanobrevibacter smithii. The other one protects the entire microbiome in your intestinal tract. So very novel approaches, unusual, very safe, no off-target activity, no toxicity in either one of these drugs. So we feel that they're going to really be helpful to both the GI docs out there as well as the infectious disease community.
The antimicrobial drug resistance issue is a big theme these days. How are you helping advance that?
So the reality is you get bacterial resistance or antibiotic resistance when you set up a directed evolutionary problem, primarily in your intestinal tract. So the strong survive, the weak die, and those conditions are set up by giving somebody an antibiotic typically. Since our drug basically protects the microflora that live in your intestinal tract, that unnatural environment, it never happens. So we have noted a significant reduction in mutagenesis or bacterial resistance after patients take our particular enzyme.
What would you hope to see happen with your company? Are you wanting to expand, or you want to have it to a trade deal, or how do you see things going forward?
We're pursuing all 3 things there, Steen, to be honest with you. I mean, as a small company, we're around 250 million market cap in the United States. We anticipate this year should be a great year for us as far as increase in shareholder value. We are looking at potential partnerships with one or both of those 2 drugs, but we're also looking at tapping into the capital markets eventually and pulling those drugs forward, with shareholder capital. Both of those solutions make sense, but at the end of the day, we want to get these into the phase 3s, out the back end, and have both of these launched somewhere in the 2019 timeframe.
Well, good luck, Jeff.
Thanks, Steve. It was a pleasure.